Hi there everyone, my name's Adam Voigt. I'm the CEO of Real Schools, and this is the second in a little series of videos that Schoolstream and I are putting together to try and help, I guess, with a really big mission, which is to bring parents and schools back onto the same page around how we're educating the young people of our future. It's a really important topic, and I guess when we're talking about how we can build that relationship and that partnership with home, we have to be thinking about communication, and we have to be thinking about how that communication has changed over the years. I was talking once with a corporate communications expert who told me that the three rules of great communication are communicate, 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 even when you've got nothing to communicate. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, if nothing's changed that you need to communicate with people, he said, then just tell them what really matters to you. And I think that's where perhaps we've gone awry in schools. I think one is that we've stopped communicating about the things that really matter to us. So we've started to communicate a lot more around the operationals and a lot less around what is our expertise and what is our big purpose for working with parents and what are we really trying to do here with these young people. So I think it's really important that we start to let people know about teaching and learning, and we let them know about how we're using social skilling to build young people into terrific citizens for tomorrow. I also think it's really important that we actually communicate with people where they're present. There's nothing worse, is there, than having to give a speech to three people? And so what we want to do is to make sure that the communicative devices that we're using are still relevant. In the old days, it was nice and easy because we had two big ones. We had a newsletter and we had our assemblies. And because of the makeup of our families, we were able to capture most people, and most people were able to get our messages that way. Well, a piece of literature that I saw recently said that around 7.8% of parents are reading our school newsletters. And that's really sometimes a little bit depressing. And sometimes we take that message personally, but we shouldn't. There's no message there that they're now no longer interested in what the school's doing. It's just perhaps they've switched off because we've stopped communicating about the big stuff. And it's also because they're just not present through that medium anymore. So it's really important that we start to look at where are they present. It's not the message that we need to give away the newsletter. The message is that we just need to look at where they really are. And a lot of them these days are using different devices that if we can become present and easy and relevant through communicating around the important stuff on their devices, that we certainly can have them included in that educative endeavour of turning that young kid into a really successful person as they get older. So that's really important. I mentioned that other device that I spoke to before around assemblies and how sometimes that had been viewed as a really important one. And you know what? It still is. So what we want to do is to make our assemblies also very relevant and also really entertaining so that people feel like they want to come along to them. The University of London looked into bullying in schools, and they looked at almost 1,400 different schools that had actually been kind of punching above their weight a little bit. It's probably the wrong analogy to use when it comes to bullying, but I'll run with it anyway. They'd been really outperforming other schools when it came to bullying. And one of the factors that came in at number 4 out of their top 10 was that those schools had fantastic assemblies. Because what that was where the school leaders of the school would get up and speak to the 3 key stakeholders in their school's culture: the staff, the parents, and the students, in the same language and about what really mattered to them. So it's hugely important to make sure that we're communicating around core business, big purpose, and then it's important to make sure we reach them where they are. And these days, parents, it's just unfortunate for us that we can't rely on 2 particular communication channels, our newsletter and our assemblies. We need to look at the ones where they are now, not the ones where they were in the past. And if we can do that, we can really get somewhere. So we're going to unpack some of these strategies that you can use, and we're going to be doing that at a webinar that we're going to be running very shortly. It's going to be called 21st Century Homeschool Communication. And what we want to do in that webinar, I guess, is to provide you with the tips, the tricks, the strategies that give you the best return for investment. We know your time is poor. And so what we want to do is to make sure that for the return on the strategies that you are deploying is going to be incredibly high. We've gone and looked into those strategies. I myself, as a principal, have deployed many of them to some effect, and I want to make sure they're in your hands too. So keep your eyes out for those details, and I'll catch you then.